Thank you for coming. We thank you all for coming for today's summary overview of... Oh, Krishna. It's been quite a day. A summary overview of chapter 11 of the Bhagavad-Gita, entitled The Universal Form. First of all, we have to begin with apologies, although that's sometimes considered a cardinal sin in lecturing, but we've had 2 reschedulings already. You can hear? No? You cannot hear? Okay, on now. We've had to reschedule twice. Our technician and good helper, Abai, has experienced the passing of his father, and so for 15 days he was observing a bereavement period. So everything has been topsy-turvy since, and last-minute adjustments. So please excuse any inconveniences. And even our materials, we're presenting an abridged portion because of the lack of sufficient time. Production has been constrained. So our sincere apologies, and also to Lavanga Mataji, who's been kind enough to reschedule us because we're already into chapter 12. So it seems like a little bit of an aftermath for chapter 11. But this actually is a very important chapter, and hopefully today we will see how it is important, because it's in the bhakti section, and you might question, well, it's not something the devotees are attracted to, right? The universal form, not so exciting, it's scary. Why is it here? So we want to try to address those questions and also help make this particular chapter enlivening for you, so that you can see it's actually a very important chapter in many ways, and how it leads up to the conclusion of devotional service. It's linked. Krishna does everything with good reason. Nothing's by accident. So that's a little bit of how this class will be going. And also I need just a few moments to express my sincere appreciation to Her Grace Parvati Devi Dasi, who has made all these classes possible. Actually, her contribution to the Bhagavad-Gita is monumental. 18 years of classes in many places in the world. The classes are not sufficiently, staffed to offer them. And not only that, I have to say her determination, her steadiness, and her broad-mindedness. She was eager to have all kinds of people sharing their insights into the Bhagavad-Gita, Madhajis, Prabhus, sannyasis, scholars. She opened the door because she understood that the Bhagavad-Gita is the book. And as Krishna promises in the end, one who just sits and listens with faith, he can attain the pole star. Just listening with faith. And also one who studies, as we're studying. This is a study session. This is not just a lecture. He's worshiping by his intelligence. And furthermore, no other book will promise what Krishna promises in the Gita. He said, he who explains this to the devotees, he's very dear, and there will never be anyone more dear, and he's guaranteed pure devotional service. So we beg all of you, that's why the Bhagavad-Gita is the preaching tool of ISKCON. It is the book. It is the book. Maybe ABC, but it's essential. And it is the Gita Upanishad. The essence of all Vedic literature is in this book. So any one of you who can share whatever you can with whomever you find on the Bhagavad Gita, you will be very dear to Krishna. And he said, never will there be. That's not a simple statement. So please appreciate what she has done. And also the Gita Jayanti would go on. Very innovative, very creative. And we just pray that we can have that same kind of determination that she had for sharing Bhagavad Gita and studying it. Even she would have many classes on the same verse, just to see how everybody has his own realizations, and all of them would be very, very uplifting and enriching. So that word to Mother Parvati. And also I would like to, if you would find it helpful in your appreciation of this chapter, I have had this chapter an experience that is what brought me to Krishna consciousness. Would you like to hear a little bit about that?
Yes.
Because if you hear a devotee have a personal realization, not just theoretical or something somebody else had, you tend to have faith, right? So before I became aware of Krishna consciousness, exactly 2 years before I met any devotees, I happened to experience the question which says you're coming to the human platform, right? I looked up at the stars, and you have to be careful what you ask. I said, I wonder what the universe is really like. Within 1 month, I got the answer. Within 1 month, what is my name? What's my name? Yashoda what? Yashodamayi Devi Dasi. Who saw the universal form? Who saw it? Right. Now this is before I knew anything about Krishna, Gita, devotional service. I'd never seen a devotee. I never heard of Prabhupada. I was covered. This is 2 years after Prabhupada left. I spent 2 years trying to figure out what was happening to me. I was experiencing that the present is the eternal future and the eternal past. Time is lineal for the conditioned soul. But when you come to higher platforms of awareness, it's cosmic. You understand that a little bit? A little difficult. Can you show them the slide? You know how a magnet works, bar magnet? The energy goes to the center. So the moment we're here together, the past and the future are going on. That is the cosmic level of awareness. Somebody said your third eye opened up. I have to say that Arjuna was right. It's terrifying. When he saw the universal form, how did Arjuna feel? What was Arjuna's experience? He was terrified. I was terrified. I went to so many people, I read so many books, no relief, no help, no explanation. But when I found the devotees, you know what they said? I went through the phone book, I found it, Krishna Consciousness. Oh, that's nothing. That's Brahman realization. Have some prasadam. Chant Hare Krishna. It won't bother you so much. You know, like the person that said, Prabhupada, I see a blue light, I see a blue light. Keep chanting, it won't bother you. So it's actually a minor siddhi. And he said, your last life, you were on that platform, but you had a material desire. Now that's finished. Now get back on track. From that day on, whatever they told me to do, I did it. They looked a little crazy to me, but if I didn't stay there, I'd go crazy. Because the universal form is actually how Krishna sees everybody at all times in the spiritual and material world. And I realized God is great. I became very God conscious. So can you appreciate the story a little bit? It's true. And I'll have to tell you, Krishna consciousness was the only relief. I tried every book, I tried every system, nothing worked. So I have full faith that Krishna brought me to the right place, and we're all fortunate. Okay, can that help you appreciate this chapter a little bit? Universal form is real. Krishna consciousness is topmost. Okay, and we're very lucky. All right, so what we're going to do now is we have sort of a slightly, these are the people who have seen the universal form, Mother Yashoda, and they're different. Not all forms are the same. And what I saw was actually phenomenology converging. It's the way astrologers do a chart. I won't try to explain it, but like I say, I just try to ignore it a little bit. It's disturbing. Mother Yashoda saw it, Duryodhana saw it, he didn't believe it. He thought it was a mystic trick. Arjuna saw it. Arjuna saw a form that was never seen before. I didn't see that. And Advaita Acharya also saw it. So we have 4 instances here. Also, it's very important to know that in the Bhagavatam, in the 2nd canto, the first chapter begins with the title, The First Step in God Realization, and it's an analysis of the universal form. The second chapter is the Lord in the Heart, so that's Paramatma. The third chapter is called Devotional Service, a change of heart. So our process is that. Bhakti is a matter of a change of heart. It's not theoretical only. We have to know philosophy, theory. Okay, so do those 3 things help you now? You understand? Believe me, this is real, universal. And that is how Krishna sees everybody at all times, materially and spiritually. I would go mad. Arjuna almost went mad, right? I almost went mad. Okay, now, this is how it works. You see the magnet? A magnet works like that. The ends go to the center. It's called the eternal now. Everything we're experiencing now is all of our past and all of our future. Krishna knows it, we don't. It's called Trikala Gyan. You heard the word? Trikala Gyan? Trikala Gyan is how the sages could see the future and write the Bhagavatam correctly. Very evolved. So does that help you a little bit? Okay, we'll show. Even the earth has magnetic field. So this is a physical reality, not just a myth. All right? Now we're going to have a slide that's a text. Normally we don't do that, but as I concluded my Bhagavatam chapters, I had a slide on a sloka that ended the 5th canto, 26th chapter. And that slide, it's the red one with the text. Very important. That slide gives you a realization, because at the end of the 5th canto, Krishna's telling, or actually the speaker, Shukadeva Goswami, is speaking to Parikshit Maharaj, and they've been explaining the whole material manifestation. And he's telling you the importance of the Virat Rupa. Because again, you might think this chapter is boring, it's not interesting. Why it's important. We're trying to stress, why is this chapter important? Okay, so there's the sloka. We've got the red one, and then we'll show you in picture form why it's important. Okay, can you make that big on the screen, Abhay? It's not working? Our computer's not working. It's a little bit slow, right? There we go. All right. One who's interested in liberation, who accepts, and I think I'll have to see this on my pad, who accepts, he wants to be liberated. He's not attracted to conditional life. He's called a what? Yati. He's called a yati. Such a person should first control his mind by thinking of what? The Virat Rupa. Now this is ending the whole section on studying the universe. This is the universal form of the Lord, and then gradually he should study the spiritual form of Krishna. Right? Gradually. Satchidananda Vigraha. By hearing of both forms. So it's a progression. It's in the Bhagavatam and it's also in the Gita. Thus one's mind is fixed in, what's the word? Samadhi. Knowing both forms by hearing about them. By devotional service, one can realize the spiritual form of the Lord, which is what? The destination of the devotees. Thus his life becomes what? Successful. So that's our theme for today. From universal form in the beginning to the concluding section of this chapter, which is Krishna's Shama Sundar two-arm form, topmost form. It's a progression. Now we will see the progressive slides because it shows you, if I want to show one picture that shows the material manifestation, it's this. This is it. It's a nightmare. Right? That's what we experience here. If I wanted to show you one picture that was the manifestation of the spiritual world, it would be the one on the right. What do you see there? You see Krishna and the gopis, and you also see Lord Chaitanya, because that's the external manifestation of the internal Radha Krishna pastimes. This one is material life. Everyone agree? Dukhalayam Shasvatam. Spiritual life, right? Eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Let's take a look at another way to see it, because you have the same here in the charts. We have choice as humans. Animals and demigods, higher beings, do not have choice. Human platform is a gift. You can choose. It's karma bhumi here. You can go up or down or out. So here, on the next slide, you will see the choice. What is your choice? Okay, birth and death. Or what? Everybody, eternal life. That is it. And yet people will prefer birth and death. Most people would prefer birth and death. It's amazing, right? It's true. Next one, what is the change of heart that requires us to get eternal life? Because we said bhakti is a heart mission. So the next one is what? What's the material world based on? Selfish lust. Selfish lust. Everybody is covered by some degree of selfish lust. Just figure it out. And what is the spiritual world based on? Selfless love. Unadulterated, selfless love. That is what your ticket is to enter the spiritual atmosphere. Not by any other means. And that's explained. Not by austerity, not by charity, not by tapasya, not by study of the Vedas. No. Selfless service. Love. Change of heart. So we will stay here until we can attain that. So do you see the contrast from the beginning of chapter 11 to the end? That picture epitomizes material life, and the other picture epitomizes spiritual life. So now we're going to do something a little bit unusual. We're going to do some overview slides, because as I said, this is an abridged class. So let's take a look at what are 11 points that are key to know, philosophical points to know about this chapter. Okay? So can you go to that folder, Abai? Okay, number 11. 11, and I chose 11 points because it's chapter what? What chapter is it? 11. People can hear you. If Parvati Mataji would be there, she'd say, the microphone, okay? Important instructions to know, understand, and what? Apply. You have to know it. Do I understand it? And do I apply it in my life? Number 1. I hope it's dark enough to read. Criterion of divinity. The universal form is the criterion of divinity. You all have been hearing class? Right. If a certain person can't show that, he's not God. Number 2 point to know. Divine eyes are given to Krishna Arjuna by Krishna by what? Grace, not by demand. You cannot demand of God. You can humbly request. That is the mood of the devotee. I want will not get it. Please, if you think me capable. Number 3 philosophical point. Krita punya punjaha. The devotee is not really interested in this form. It disturbs his relationship with Krishna. These cowherd boys could care if he's God or not. They don't want to know. He's my friend. Every relationship, eternal relationship with Krishna is intimate. It's not one of, as Prabhupada writes, a godless display of power. Number 4 point, you need to know, philosophical point. Do these charts help you? We tried to make this very basic. 4th point, Sanjaya's description. Why Sanjaya has such a big section, 23 slokas. He's not saying much in the Gita. At the beginning he introduces it, at the end he concludes it. Why is Sanjaya describing this? To prove that it's not a hallucination. If he sees it, Arjuna could be just having a hallucination. Nobody would believe him. Nobody would know. Sanjaya is there to confirm that this form was visible. The soldiers on the battlefield did not see it. Some of the divine devas saw it. But Sanjaya is the backup proof. He's the witness. If somebody commits a crime and nobody saw it, you have no proof. But if somebody saw it, you have proof. So Sanjaya has 23 slokas. Now the interesting thing is in the last chapter there were 24 slokas describing Krishna's opulence, right? 23 slokas describing the terrifying form. It's many. 23 slokas. It's a terrifying form. So he is there to confirm, and he's been given his vision by the Vyasadeva who wrote the Gita. So you see the circle comes around. Point number 5, very important point. Number 5. How does Arjuna like the form? Does he like it? No, he's overwhelmed by a secondary ras, wonder, vibhuti. It's not a primary ras, it's temporary, and it can cover the primary ras, but only temporarily. It will not sustain. He couldn't sustain it. He didn't want it. He asked at the end, please, relieve me of this. He was overwhelmed by this form. Point number 6. The section on time. Krishna is what? Kalarupa. Time destroys everything and every one of us. Everything we have, everything we see, we are asat. The Kalarupa form, the crushing wheel of time. Nothing permanent. A materialist is attracted to the impermanent. The spiritualist is attracted only to the permanent. Point number 7. The instruction for all of us. Are we the doers? No. Become what? Instruments. If you think you're the doer, you take the karma. An advanced devotee will never say, I did it. He knows better. The realization in chapter 5 of the Gita is that one sacrifices not only the physical, but the subtle action. I'm not doing anything. I'm desiring, that's all. And you have to desire to be an instrument of what? Krishna's desire. Manmana. Be my mind. Be one in mind with me. In harmony with my desire. That's why Prabhupada was so successful. He was at one with Krishna's desire. And I would say, even too, in the case of Mother Parvati and doing this class, why were they going on so long? Because that was the desire of Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada writes in this chapter, the desiring of the spiritual master is as good as the desire of Krishna. He's in harmony with that desire. So always think of yourself as, Krishna, make me an instrument of your desire. Otherwise, I'm making more karma and I'm creating many bodies. That's all. Birth and death and birth and death. Think of yourself as an instrument. Point number 8. Now there's a whole section in which Arjuna is glorifying Krishna when he realizes he's such a powerful personality. I picked one. He's the sanctuary of everyone and everything, the resting place of the world. They go on for many slokas, many terms. Arjuna's describing, well, you're this, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. But the ultimate one, you're the sanctuary. Sanctuary is a place where you're protected. If you take to Krishna consciousness, immediately you come under Krishna's protection, proportionately. 100% surrender, 100% protection. 10% surrender, 10% protection. It's proportional. You must do that. But he is your protection, Sharanagati. Nobody else can protect you. Agree? Nobody else can protect you. They can be your well-wisher, but no one can protect you except who? Krishna. That's Sharanagati. Number 8, philosophical point. Number 9, Arjuna's eternal relationship is in what? Friendship. And he wants that. This section is very personal. You will not find such an intimate section in the rest of the Gita. It's a real, and even Krishna is saying, my dear Arjuna, my dear friend, be peaceful. You know, if God comes up to you and says, my dear so-and-so, that's very sweet. This section is very personal. You will get an insight. It's all emotional. First one of wonder and then one of love. You will not find any other chapter like that. You see this chapter is unique? You're liking it a little better, I hope. Right? Next point, number 10. He wants to see Krishna's forearm form. Because we have to see the progression from the universal temporary form. This is an eternal form, but it's not the original form, because this chapter proves Vishnu is an expansion. He's not the origin of Krishna. He is an expansion of Krishna. Krishna is tu Bhagavan Swayam, the emperor verse of the Bhagavatam. And he proves it here. He wants to see what? Number 11, Krishna's supreme two-armed form, holding the flute. Of the 64 qualities of Krishna, only Krishna has the 4. Vishnu has 10, and the jivas have 50. A perfected jiva can become Brahma. Shiva has even a few more. But only Krishna has 64 in full. So he is the origin, the supreme, the essential, topmost form of the Godhead. This chapter takes you from the universal form understanding of the cosmic manifestation to the topmost realization, the Shama Sundar, beautiful form. Somya Vapu, beautiful. So can you see the value of this chapter? It's very brilliant, actually, in that regard. Okay, and I added another slide here. The last sloka, we have 2 slokas, 54 and 55, that conclude this chapter, that are the thematic verses. We have no key memory verses, but the last one gives us the formula of how do I get to Krishna, the formula for success. And I chose Jayananda, because one of the points is to work for Krishna. Work for Krishna. And Jayananda was the epitome of that. And also it ends by saying, and he's friendly to everyone. You will find there are devotees who do great things. You will find there are devotees who are friendly, but they don't do necessarily amazing things. But it is the supreme devotee who can do amazing things and be a friend of everyone. That was Jayananda. He embodied to me that sloka. He worked for Krishna, drove a taxi, did everything possible. Built carts, ruined his health, helped the devotees all night. First to rise, last to go to sleep. He did amazing things, and he was a friend. You'll see those devotees, he became a worshipful Vaishnava. That's what it takes. That sloka is the essence. And even in our little study guides, which we have, these mind maps, I chose 1155 as the back of the book. Because Prabhupada said this sloka is the essence of Krishna consciousness. It gives us the formula for success. If you want to go to the spiritual world, that's the formula. Okay? So now we're going to get on to the regular part of our program. Because as I said, it's abridged, but we don't want to miss out on the essentials. Did you find those philosophical points helpful? I hope so. All these slides, by the way, are available on a Google Drive. And if any of you wish, because some of you come and ask, if any of you wish to have access to this, all you need to do, and we'll just pass this around. Yeah, just take this and you just pass it around. And if you want one, I have quite a few there. They're cut. You just take the email, send me your email, and Abhay puts you on a drive, and you can access 3 years of 18 chapters of the Bhagavad-Gita plus daily Bhagavatam post. It's no expense to us. It's no expense to you. It's free to everyone. Please take advantage of it. So please take one if you don't have one. I hope I have enough. All right, let us now get back to our standard program, but we wanted to make this a little, as I said, it had to be different because of all of the surprises Krishna had in store for us. Maybe some people over here would like it. I hope you found the overview thematic slides helpful. I spent a lot of time last night doing those because I felt people had to know, why is this chapter unique and important? Why is it unique and important? We have 2 study guides here. We have an update for everybody, but we have leftovers from 2 years ago, because at this time 2 years ago, exactly 2 years ago, it was hot. We had too many handouts, and we had excess. So we had some of these. So this is from 2 years ago, and it's valuable. It has sections the update does not have. This is a supplement, okay? This has retention checklists, it has different ways to do the slokas, and it also has cited verses. So you have both. Not enough for everyone, but most people will get at least the supplement, okay? Let's take your supplement out. It's the thin one, the new one. The old one, as I said, there were not that many, so maybe you came by the time they were all gone. The old one has everything in it, except what's in the supplement, okay? It's like your vitamin, right? You didn't get enough with the food, so you take a vitamin supplement. Please turn to the checklist. Everybody got it? Abhay has it on the screen. Does everybody have it? You have it? And your pen. Now you can mark yourself, because these are things you should know. Any systematic study requires some facts, right? They may be a little boring, but it's essential. Otherwise, it's just sentiment. Any book you read, any study approach you take, even filling out a form, they want to know what's your name, how old you are, right, what gender, what's your problem. Okay, so we're going to go through the basic facts. Everybody who leaves today should know the main ones. First fact, and if you know it, put a check mark. The title of the chapter is what, everybody? The universal form. What is it? Again? Universal form. Put a check mark. You should know chapter 11 is the universal form. Many devotees don't know the chapter titles. That's essential. What's the number of this chapter? 11. Right? You should say 11 points. I try to make things reinforced to help you. We call these classes, we try to make them learner-friendly. They should help you, not make it scary, like the universal form. Number 3, what should everybody know? How many slokas? 55. What's 11 times 5? 55. You have to do a little math. 11 times 5 is how much? 55. So how many slokas in this? 55. So if I were to start a class, I would say chapter Bhagavad-Gita 11 is called the what? Universal form. It has how many verses? 55. What section are we in, everybody? Bhakti. Well, what's that one doing in Bhakti? We just talked about it. It takes us to Bhakti. This chapter takes you to Bhakti. So we're in the bhakti-yoga section. Now, how many topics do we have, everybody? 5. That's good. 5 times 11 is what? 55. Easy to remember, 5 topics. Let's take a look at what they are, because you should know them. We'll just look at the words, and later we'll look at pictures. The pictures help. First, we get Arjuna's request. I want to see the form, please. Then we get a Sanjaya describing it. So what's the first one? Arjuna asks, not for his sake, for our sake. Criterion. This is to prove that God is God, not a fake incarnation. Sanjaya describes it to prove he's not having a drug hallucination. You know, a lot of people, Prabhupada met a lot of hippies, they were on LSD, and they were having hallucinations all the time. Arjuna is not having a hallucination, and Sanjaya is there as proof. Now, the section, only 3 verses. Time I am. Famous quote. When they dropped the bombs on Hiroshima, that's what Oppenheimer said. Time I am, the destroyer of all the worlds. They knew the Gita. Little did he know what it meant, though. The karma that they faced for killing all those people. They dropped the bombs, and that's what they said. Time. They quoted the Gita. Famous quote. Be an instrument. I'm here to destroy. They're going to die whether you fight or not. Take the credit. But don't take it. Don't take it. No, you're the instrument. Then Arjuna does what? He prays for forgiveness. Oh my goodness, I didn't know you were so powerful. As a friend, I must have offended you. Forgive me, forgive me, forgive me. Full of intimate prayers. And what's the final point? Who sees the 2-armed form? Guess what you people are? You have to be pure devotees. Who do you see in the temple every day in front of the altar? Shyam Sundar. Somya Vapu, the topmost form. Shyam Sundar. That's it. Who can see that? A lot of people can't see that. They don't even want to see it. They don't want to bother. They'd rather look at a picture of a demigod or something like that. Don't think you're not special. I look around the room and it's quite a motley crew. You get ladies, you get gentlemen, you get some scholars, you get some brahmacharis. All of you are special. Very, very special. You should never treat the devotees with disrespect. No matter how badly they may treat you, take it as mercy. Right? You're lucky. Very lucky. Okay? Because you get to see Shyam Sundar every day. All right? So you get that point now? Now we have some more numbers here. Number 1, who is the Supreme Lord? Krishna, right. He's established that in this chapter. Number 2, 2 worlds. What kind of 2 worlds? Eternal, spiritual, and temporary material. Believe it, most people would rather stand in the crematorium than go back to Godhead. 2 creators. 2 creators. Who creates the spiritual and material world? Yeah, but Brahma is the secondary. He's the secondary creator. Krishna is the source of Brahma. 3 levels of knowledge. What are the 3 levels of knowledge? What are they? Brahman, Paramatma is higher, and finally is what? Right, Bhagavan. Brahman, Paramatma. That's also temporary. Brahman is temporary. It's not an eternal position. They come back down. They get lonely. Paramatma, temporary. What's eternal? Bhagavan. That's where you want to go. That's your destination. That's your Param Gati. 4 forms. What forms do we see in this chapter? We see the universal form. What else do we see? Narayan 4-armed form. Then what else do we see? Vasudev 2-armed form. Mathura. Yes, different. It's not the flute. When Krishna went to Mathura, he didn't go. Vasudev Krishna went to Mathura. And what do you see? What's the last one? 2-armed Shyama Sundar form. They're different. Arjuna on the battlefield is not holding a flute. I mean, Krishna is not holding a flute during the battle of Kurukshetra, right? Everybody agree? It's his Vasudev form. 2-armed Vasudev form. Okay? And what are the 5 primary rasas? Everybody should know that by now if you've been around. Shanta, neutrality, dasya, right? Servant, sakya, friend, vatsalya, parent, and the final one, madhurya, conjugal. They each contain more. Madhurya contains all 5, and parental 4. Friendship contains 3. Dasya contains 2. And the first one, neutrality, is the basic. 6 opulences in full. Wealth, you've heard this many times, right? Wealth, strength, knowledge, beauty, fame, and renunciation. Krishna is full in all 6. That makes him Bhagavan. When we speak of Bhagavan, it means Bhagavan. Full in 6 opulences. You can't get more. Okay? And the 7 secondary rasas, these we may not know. First one is what? Laughter. How much you smile. Number 2, compassion. What's number 3? Anger. Number 4, chivalry. Number 5, dread. The next one is what? That's the one Arjuna saw. Astonishment. He was covered. It's a temporary covering. And what's the last one? Gasanas. This is described in the Nectar of Devotion, chapter 34. Okay? So those are basic points. Let's take a look now at our picture charts, and then we'll run through some slokas, okay? Here we have, just get the big ones, the big one that shows the topics, so they can see the picture of the 5 topics. You need to know the breakdown. 5 topics. That way you have compartments. The more you organize your thinking, the less cluttered your brain will be. And you will actually be able to remember better. Some people say, oh, that's not so important. It's critical. Structure is critical. Without it, it's like a drawer in which you dumped all of your equipment and you can't find anything, and you put the lid down and you won't look at it. Organizing, structure is essential. Here is the first topic. What is it? Arjuna's request. May I please see your form. Second topic, and we're going to skip those slokas. There was not time to do them, slides for them. Sanjaya describes it. 23 slokas. 3 slokas become a what? Instrument. Time I am. 4th one, Arjuna prays. I didn't realize who you were. And number 5, 2-armed form. Only the devotees can see it. Very confidential form. Not revealed by anyone except one engaging in devotional service. Think about it. If you're the mother of the Prime Minister, when he comes home, do you see him as the Prime Minister or as your son? That's what the spiritual world is. They don't see Krishna as God. And even if they did, it's not important. It's too intimate. Okay? Everybody understand? That's the same thing in the spiritual world. If you have a personal relationship with Krishna, you're not worried about whether he's God or not. Here's your breakdown. You have 8 slokas here. We'll see those 8. We're skipping 23. Right? We have 3 now for the time I am. 12 for Arjuna's prayers. And 9 about the 2-armed form. So are you ready for the slokas? You can follow along with your supplement. Okay, open those up. You'll see how it works. What we did here is we have for each sloka to help you 1 word. For the first sloka we have the word dispelled. So we have the word here with a picture. So follow along with your chart, and you see the word here, dispelled. Arjuna is convinced that Krishna is God. My doubts are dispelled, but I have something to ask of you. Okay? And that's the whole sloka. We're not going to worry about it. Both are available, but we don't spend time on this. This is mostly a walk through the chapter. Second 2, look at your pager. What's the word, everybody? Inexhaustible. I'm convinced of your inexhaustible glories. All your opulences, it's just a spark. That's a sign of, let's turn sideways, infinity. No limit. There is no limit to your glories. And that's this text. What's the third key word? We did a chart to help you. What's the third key word? I want to see that form. Not for my sake, but to prove to people that you're God. I wish to see that form. He's asking politely, if you think me qualified. The Bhagavatam is full of etiquette. They don't just say, oh, hi, how are you? Oh, most respected sir, right? I wish to see that. And there's the sloka. I wish to see that form. Your actual position, I'm convinced, but others may not be. What's the next one? What's the word? Yes, please show me that universal form. That's the one I want to see. To prove your divinity to all. What's number 5 word, everybody? Now when he sees it, it's full of colors and garlands and scents. It's completely cosmic, unlimited. It's multicolored. We couldn't imagine. Everything in one place. What's the next word, everybody? Yes, the whole thing, it's manifestation of all the devas. Everything is there, from the top down to Lord Chaitanya. Everything is there. The whole creation in one place. Krishna sees that all the time, and he keeps it straight, and he doesn't go crazy. He's watching. We have a private video, our life. Krishna's watching everybody's video, from the Indra to the Indra Gop, and he's managing it. That's God. You have to know how great God is. Everything in one place. In one place. What's number 8 word? Yes. How is Arjuna able to see it? Arjuna gets what kind of eyes? Only divinity, divine eyes. By Krishna's grace, he gets divine eyes. Otherwise, he cannot see it. It would be too impossible. So that's your first section, 8 slokas. So we walk through that. We're skipping Sanjaya's description, but if you look at it, it starts out sweet, but it gets pretty scary. It starts out celestial, limited effulgence, but then it starts to get to be perturbed and terrifying and disturbed. Very difficult. Too much. He sees people being smashed, had for lunch, devouring like moths, driving into a flame. And it ends, and Arjuna says, what is your mission? What have you come here to do? Please tell me. So now let's take a look at the Kala Rupa section. 3 verses. What's your first word? Time. Who is time? That's why Krishna comes as time to the atheist. Because then the atheist has to bow his head. Krishna comes as death to the atheist. He won't bow in life, but he has to bow in death. Time I am, the destroyer of everything and everyone. And he's telling him, be and what? What should we all be of Krishna, everybody? Instruments. We're not the doers. If you think you're the doer, you're in Maya. Number 34. And what's he doing? Saying to Arjuna, fight and vanquish your enemies. They're already killed. Just be an instrument. And you'll win a kingdom. Whether you fight or not, they're dead. I've killed them already. But you fight, vanquish, and you will be victorious. Okay, now let's jump to the 4th section. Arjuna's prayers, right? This section begins with what's the word? Obeisances. If this form is everybody's worshiping you up front, the back, behind, obeisances from all sides. You're inconceivable. And what is the next word? I love this sloka. This is one of my favorite slokas. This is Krishna consciousness. We should read this sloka. Who's that? Prabhupada. Is he joyful? You better believe he is. Rathayatra. Is everybody else joyful? Let's do that sloka. This is one of my favorite slokas. Arjuna said, O master of the senses, the what? The world becomes joyful upon what? Hearing your name. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Just chant Hare Krishna and be happy. This sloka proves it. He becomes joyful. He said, although the protected beings offer you their respectful homages are afraid they flee. All this is rightly done. You see, the demons don't want to hear the holy name, but the devotees become joyful about hearing the holy name. Nice sloka. Try to remember this one. 1136. And this is the word. What's the next word? Great. You're so great. You're even the creator of Brahma. Okay? And the next we see the sloka. And he is the what? Of many qualities, he's the sanctuary. Nara is the person. Narayan is the sanctuary of all being. Nara Narayan is Arjuna and Krishna. They are Nara Narayan. Arjuna is Nara and Krishna is Narayan. Eternally together. The sanctuary. And the form that we see, it says this is the supreme controller. This is who you are. You are the supreme controller. And that is, then he's offering his obeisances. It's just the whole thing is emotions, obeisances again and again. And you are also the master. That's the master. Okay? Because you're all pervading. You're within everything. You see him in everything in the middle. Whether it's the deva or the snake or the bhakta, he's all pervading. What's the next one? What's the key word? Now we have the prayers. Please do what? Please forgive me. Please forgive me. We were so friendly. I was too friendly with you. Too friendly. Please forgive me. Very intimate exchange. And the next one, and what is he saying again? Excuse me. Please excuse me. He's not rude. You know, some people can knock you over in the temple, punch you, push you aside, and not say anything. But just like Vishnu, who was kicked by Bhrigu, he said, oh, did I hurt your foot? That's how you have to be. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Next. You're the father of everybody. You know, you're the creator. Just the way the father forgives his son, the friend forgives his friend, the wife forgives her lover. You're the father of everything. Okay, what's our next word? 44? Yeah, just tolerate me. Please just tolerate me. Of course Krishna's going to tolerate. You don't think Krishna tolerating us? When somebody was complaining to Prabhupada about another devotee, Prabhupada said, tolerate him the way I tolerate you. Krishna's tolerating everything we do all day long. So we should be tolerant. That's the key to success. Heat and cold, happiness, distress, tolerate them. It's the material world. It won't change. You have to tolerate it. And now, I like this picture. This is an old picture. Please look at this carefully. Arjuna is asking Krishna, I'm glad to see you. But he said, I want to see your four-arm form. So you see Krishna is in his two-arm form, but behind him, what's behind him? The four-arm form. So in this painting, this is an old painting, but it shows that. You see the two-armed and the four-arm form in one place. Very old, beautiful painting. And now, he says, now I just want to see the four-arm form. This is going to prove that this is not the original. This is the expansion. If you look in the dictionary, it says Krishna is an expansion of Vishnu. That's backwards. Vishnu is the expansion of Krishna. So devotees know better. And now, look at Krishna. Do you ever see pictures of Krishna looking angry? Balaram, yes. Balaram, yes. You don't want to mess with Balaram. He's very heavy. But Krishna is always smiling. Happily I will show you my form, my dear Arjuna. Okay? And now what does he say? And Arjuna, never before has anybody, what? Nobody saw this before. You're the first one. Because the parampara starts with you, Arjuna. We have to prove this. Nobody in the world has ever seen this form, and no one can see it by austerity, study, charity, penance. No, that's not how we see the form. Okay, what's our next word? Yeah, be peaceful. Very sweet. Just be peaceful now. It's over. The operation is finished. You can relax. Okay, quickly, next slide. I want now to see the two-arm form. I want to see that. And now I'm restored, because when I started the chapter, I asked to see it. I saw it. It was horrific. Now I'm back to my normal self. Okay, next. And now this form is going to be the most dear. Okay? Dear. And it cannot be understood by what? Study, charity, penance. No, no, no. How can we understand Krishna, the last two verses? Number 4, by what? Undivided devotional service, not mixed, not karma mishra, jnana mishra, only by pure, unalloyed devotion. Can you see me as I am? And number 5, the formula for success, the pure devotee. How does he see Krishna? He sees him, he engages in my service, free from contaminations of karma and jnana. He works for me. He makes me the supreme goal. And he's what? Friendly. And what happens to him? He certainly comes to me. So hopefully that's what happens to all of us. So we will conclude really quickly with a little video of Srila Prabhupada. We like to have appreciations of Prabhupada. It's a short video of Prabhupada stressing the human life, the choice we must make. Be sure people are getting prasadam as they go. Are people all getting prasadam? Yes. Make sure they're getting, and return their equipment. Right? Okay, and that ends our class. So we have the quick video of Prabhupada, the human form of life. And there's also text if you cannot hear it so well. Okay, is it ready to go? Okay, all right. It's not on the screen. Is there any way to raise that a little bit? Yes. Life is not meant to be like cats and dogs. I have this higher form of life for a reason. The cats and dogs, that's not human life. We have 4 necessities for the body. We all have them. They have to eat. We all have to eat. Everybody has to eat. Agreed. It's a necessity of the body. We have this karmic package to deal with. Cats and dogs also sleep. We sleep. Right? We have to sleep 6 hours. Sex life, that's not required, but for most people, for progeny, right? Cats and dogs have sex life openly. People are doing that now too. What's the form of human life? What's the special feature of human beings? They consider, I have a nice body, maybe American, Australian, Indian, but you have a human body. What should I do with it? Do I want to live it like a cat and a dog? Therefore, what should our business be? By nature's way, we have come to this form of life. And we have taken millions and millions of bodies from the higher planets to the lower. What should we think now? Are we going to waste the chance? The purpose of human life is to know who? Krishna. What are we trying to do? We're trying to have knowledge of Krishna, understanding God. That is the end of knowledge. And we progressive. It's progressive knowledge. And only is it perfected when you know what is God. Brahma-bhuta. It's a nice facility. You have all of your senses. Now he said when he was preaching in Australia, before that it was not developed. But because of intelligence, you were able to develop Australia. Nature is a machine. The body is a machine. That's all. The operator is the soul.
This is a machine.
A machine will take a picture, but there has to be an operator. Will this work without an operator? No. Will your phone work without an operator? The machine, the material energy cannot work without the presence of Paramatma. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu brings it to life. People do not see the soul is in the body. That's who we are. We are not the body. We're not the mind. And there are two kinds of evidence. Hypothesis. By logic, I can figure this out. No machine works without what? An operator. And who's the supreme operator running this whole creation? Krishna. There has to be a God. Anybody who says there's no God, he's a madman. He wants God's kingdom without God. That's all. He's envious. There must be an operator. That is intelligence. Finding out who is the operator. And what book will tell us? Bhagavad-Gita. The song of God. He's telling you. And then people will still say, oh no, he's an ordinary person. Supreme operator. He's so kind. He's giving us the evidence in the Bhagavad-Gita. I'm controlling the material energy. Everything is moving under my direction. When you accept that your business is done, and Krishna gives evidence, he's controller of nature. On his little finger. Some people say, do you believe that? Okay. And we will stop it at this point. Okay, Abai? We'll just stop it at that point. Because it's almost 7. and people want to have time to get to class. So we have had our quick overview, our run through, and our new slides, philosophical points. That's a new feature. We're sorry we had to leave out the whole descriptive section, but it's a bit repetitive, but then that's considered an opulence, because they say in the Gita, Prabhupada writes in the purport, it's not a flaw. When someone's in a sense of wonder, he just says things again and again and again. So I hope you found this particular overview enhances your appreciation of chapter 11, gives you an insight into its importance and why it's in the bhakti section, because it leads us into the formula which is expanded on in chapter 12. Every point in the formula is one of the steps towards the topmost platform of bhakti. So we thank you so much for coming, and we hope that you found this very helpful. Please accept some prasadam and our most humble obeisances. Panchakopa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanebho Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.